Hello, everyone, and welcome to our more learning sessions. Thank you for taking the time to coming in today's learning session entitled Basic Social Media Management. My name is JC Ventura, and I'm the head of HR of More Staffing, and I will be your host for today. So, More Staffing LLC connects top tier virtual professionals from the Philippines with businesses, nonprofits, and entrepreneurs around the globe. What sets us apart is the executive coaching, training, and mentorship we provide our virtual professionals upon connecting them with companies. We are committed to helping Filipino professionals thrive in the global workplace. It is a pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today. She is a good friend of mine and the head of marketing for More Staffing, a digital marketing practitioner with expertise in research and content creation. She will lead today's talk on basic social media management, and share relevant resources to level up your social media game.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, and actually good evening to some who are in different time zones. Thank you, JC, for the very generous introduction. Okay, so before we start, let's have a bit of a coaching-inspired activity. So here at More Staffing, sometimes we like to integrate some coaching practices. So let's take a bit of a rewind. Let's describe your week, but we have a bit of a catch for this activity. So we will be describing our week using a Zoom emoji. All right. So think of the wins that you had for this week, the projects that you've accomplished, the people that you've collaborated with, and let us know how you would describe your week. Right? There's definitely no right or wrong answers to this. We just want to situate ourselves. Right? Click on the Zoom emoji. I see some fireworks, some people who look a bit tired. Thumbs up, clapping emojis. Someone looks a little sad. Someone is happy. Someone's thinking of, I don't know, food, or is that a reward? All right, that's awesome. Okay. So the next question is, how do you want to feel at the end of the day? So sometimes we might think that, we've come to the end of the week, but in reality, we still have this learning session. We have dinner or breakfast for some who are in different time zones, and how you would bring yourself from point A to point B, or from how you feel right now to how you want to feel at the end of the day. It's up to you. So we're all professionals here. We have creative ideas, and it would be great if you can just come up with one or two things that would lift you up from wherever you are right now. Can be the same emotion, or you might go a bit higher, or if you're not feeling well, you might want to think of a few things, simple things to get you from point A to point B. Okay, so Jen, that was just a simple activity, also applicable in social media. If you take a look at the brands that you handle now, or if you have accounts that you want to improve on or you want to revamp. Okay, so you situate yourself, where am I right now? We assess, and then where do you want to go? And then slowly we build and get to that goal. All right? So yun, konting pampagana lang, na-apply naman natin sa work. All right, to introduce myself, to those who don't know me yet, I'm Angela. I'm the resident nerd of More Staffing. So here are some certifications that I took that I think would be relevant to our discussion that you might also want to take. They are free courses. So way back in college, I had really great mentors and professors, but the digital world is really fast-paced, and putting a learner's hat or becoming lifelong learners is a very essential skill right now, or something that I highly encourage everyone, especially if you're pursuing a field in digital marketing. Everything is very fast paced. So if you'd like to learn more about digital marketing as a whole, HubSpot offers a free certification course. It actually expires every year. It's something that you have to renew because that just demonstrates how fast-paced everything is. Okay, so I also took a course from Coursera. It's another free course. This was the time when I was still very focused on research. So it was a course on consumer neuroscience and neuromarketing. So very interesting because my key takeaway was that marketers tend to ask the same questions like what do people want to buy, what drives business growth, or how can I make this product more attractive, or how can I make my brand the brand of choice. All right, basically same questions um when I was in school, to the time when I was working, and to the time when I was taking the certificate. But the tools are very different now. So in some companies, in some countries in the world, they already use virtual reality. They use brain imaging. So naabutan ko pa yung time na for market research, we would accompany people and shop with them. Then at the end of the shopping experience, we ask them a few questions, like survey questions. Now, there are virtual reality tools that are used by marketing companies or market research companies, and they can simulate supermarket experiences. It doesn't have to be real time. They can tweak what colors will the brain respond to, what kind of placement in the shelf will they respond to. So very interesting. And then positive psychology, because I wanted to focus on content creation, and I want that the content that I put out with whatever brand that I work with or with clients that I put out would help bring people from point A to point B. So I really encourage you to also take additional courses. It's a good step that you're attending this course. It seems like you also have a lifelong learning or curiosity about going beyond your practice. Okay, so I started my digital marketing practice with Incognitos. They are a digital marketing brand. And then currently, I am the marketing head of More Staffing. All right, so seems fancy, digital marketing practitioner, but what does that mean? Okay, so how will I explain that to my 7-year-old son? Basically, being a digital marketer, at least to me personally, is about sharing stories online because there's something worth talking about. And I go all out geeking about it. So I plan. So what colors do I use? What images? What choice of words? Then I execute. I plot it out in a calendar. And then once that it's out there, I review the results and then rinse, repeat. Let's see how we can get better. Right? How about you? So why did you show up today? Okay. Can anyone share why they wanted to sign up and come here today? You can place it in the chat box. Don't be shy. It's a safe space. So Victor Flores says he wants to know more about social media. Heidi says she wants to learn the basics. Tin says she wants to learn more. Yeah. Okay. So thank you for showing up today. So showing up is actually the most difficult part, but give yourselves a happy emoji for being here today. All right. Learning basic social media management is useful for developing your personal accounts, professional profile, current business, upcoming business. It can be used for a new career, for passion projects, and maybe even just for documenting your cat's life, right? So, hi, sabi ng cat. All right, so what do we have for today? What's in store? All right, so this training is divided into 3 parts. The first part is a bit on the theoretical side. We'll be exploring marketing, digital marketing, different social media platforms. Okay, so my intention here is to expose you to different vantage points of social media. So sometimes this is social media, will take a few steps back. Sometimes if this is social media, we'll go around the different platforms. And I'll also expose you to different brands that are stellar in social media. All right. And then for the second part, we'll be having a bit of a workshop. Don't worry, no pressure. You don't have to launch a social media plan after this. This is supposed to help you get started. Okay, so definitely no right or wrong answers. It's a safe space. And we will be tackling this in broad strokes. So I suggest we'll just be working on gut feel or intuition or keywords. Okay, so at least you'll have something to go back to once that you have carved out more time to think about your social media plan. And then I'll be sharing some resources to jumpstart or to add value to your social media if you've already jumpstarted anyway. All right? Are you ready? If you're ready, please put in a happy emoji and share some good energy with everyone on this wonderful Friday afternoon. All right? Love those emojis. Okay, so what is marketing? When did it begin? All right, these were my questions when I was beginning my marketing journey. All right, I started about a year or yeah, a year and a half ago. So I had a few questions, and sorry, my audio is a bit failing. Can you hear me? Can you send a thumbs up? All right, okay, it's back. Okay, so I had a few questions about marketing. And then, okay, it's easy to Google what does marketing mean, right? So you come up with some textbook definitions or some definitions from authorities in marketing like HubSpot or like Hootsuite, right? But I was a bit fortunate because I was working with some digital marketing experts from Incognitos. So I was able to have a conversation with these experts and ask them about what is marketing all about. And then I love what they shared with me. Marketing dates like way back. If we had a time machine and could go back to the time of our ancestors, do you know the Flintstones? Okay, I'm dating myself for mentioning that. But yeah, way back, if you can imagine our ancestors many generations down, maybe they would talk about their favorite tools or favorite spear or their best produce or um, the best tribe, right? So they would make cuento and then sometimes they would do some trades and then um, yeah, they would share about the things they would highlight the things that they were most proud of. Okay, so marketing is basically the process of sharing stories to promote products and services, to influence thought leadership, talk about advocacies, and more. Okay, so let's take the time machine again and go to our present cave if you're a virtual worker like me, working in a small office every day. So I don't sell spears, I don't promote yeah, sabers and stuff like that, but I promote food. I talk about why Pizza Verde is the most delicious pizza in my vicinity. I talk about awareness about coaching, right? So marketing is the process of sharing stories to promote products and services. Okay. Influence thought leadership, talk about advocacies and more. So from ages ago to where we are now, so marketing exists. Okay. So some differences would be the products that are available. So maybe before they were again, as I mentioned, talking about their favorite tooth necklace, right? But now we can search in our phones best pizza near me. You might see Pizza Verde, top choice, or you might go to YouTube because you want to feel entertained. So few days ago when I was working on this presentation, I looked at my YouTube and I saw this BTS video and it had 3 million views and it was posted in just, 2 days ago. And then digital marketing also I saw this online article that was titled 7 things you didn't know could be bought in social media. So there's this tilapia pouch, this fish pouch. Yeah. So lots of silly things, right? So iba yung products and services, but the same process, okay? So when I say process, it's thinking about who do I sell this to? What do I highlight about this? How can I get better in convincing people about this? How can I send, more people out to talk about this wonderful product that I have? Okay. Oh, here's the textbook definition, by the way. If you're not satisfied with the layman definition that I shared a while ago. So this one is from HubSpot. Yeah. It's a process of getting people interested in a product or service, any action to attract an audience through high quality messaging. Okay. Everybody still okay? Okay, good. Okay, so lots of things to absorb about marketing, but if we can boil down to, just one thing, marketing connects. All right. So it's about having a certain idea or a certain product or service, and marketing helps you connect it to the right people or to more people that. Okay. So what's the difference between traditional marketing and digital or online marketing? Okay, so traditional marketing refers to any type of marketing that isn't online. No brainer? Yeah, okay, fine. This means print, broadcast, radio, flyering, direct mail, phone, and outdoor advertising like billboards. Okay, so inversely, digital marketing is, well, okay, anything that's on the digital platform. It can be videos, paid social media ads, email marketing, influencer marketing, and so on. But so what, right, if there's traditional marketing and digital or online marketing? So why is digital marketing an interesting, or why has there been a shift, or why are people combining traditional marketing with digital or online marketing? Okay, so number one, digital or online marketing is more interactive. So if there's like a billboard of a certain food brand that you like, and you're enticed with that video, or with that billboard rather, you can't like talk to the billboard and say, what's your menu? Or do you deliver now? But with social media, if you see an ad, sponsored ad, maybe on Facebook of something that, makes you crave, or something that you'd want to purchase, you can actually chat and get a response real time. So that's one, it's interactive. It's a chance also to engage and to build a better relationship with your audience. And some people say that digital or online marketing is also more cost efficient. And what I personally like about digital or online marketing is that it's leveling the playing field. So when I was a communication student back then, or maybe a few years back, okay, I really had this drive to be creative, and I didn't have that opportunity back then to come up with really good videos or words and put it out there and see how people would respond and connect with people who would also appreciate that. But now, people like you and me can get access to tools like these and put out things that we are passionate about. All right. Is everybody still okay at this point? Send in some love, send in some thumbs up or some hearts, because we're all here to learn. All right. Okay, so another vantage point, as I mentioned earlier, I'll be taking you around different vantage points so you can, better appreciate social media marketing or social media in general. So social media is just one part of, many aspects of digital marketing. Okay, if digital marketing were a wheel, social media would be like one spoke of that wheel. there are many other options. So there's coming up with websites and search engine optimization. There's email marketing, influencer marketing, blog marketing is super effective in building your SEO. There's video marketing, mobile. There's content marketing, which plans out like the whole structure of content you want to put out for your clients or your target audience. And then there's also search engine marketing. It's different from search engine optimization. So one talks about ads in search engines, and one is about getting a better ranking so you'll appear in top search. Okay, so something that I learned from my digital marketing class in HubSpot is that most brands still get found through search. So it's good to focus on social. It's okay to have like a social media strategy, but if you want to be like really strategic about brand awareness, you might want to consider also, maybe coming up with a website or exploring other ways to build your brand awareness. Social media is a good start or a good way, but there are many other platforms that you can select from. Okay. So let's go head on with social media marketing. What is it? Okay, so let's hear it from the authority, HubSpot. So social media marketing is the process of creating content for social media platforms to promote your products, services, ideas, build community with your target audience, and drive traffic to your business, organization, or cause. Okay, so again, as a digital marketing practitioner, this is how I see it. It's about connecting with the audience. How do I connect with the audience? Create content. Okay, so the content will bring my ideas, my mission closer to my intended audience. And what will help me create compelling content when I have a clear brand and objective? So regardless if you activate Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn, there are like a plethora of social media platforms. It's important that we are clear about what we want to say so that our messaging will be effective and that we are clear about our objectives. Because we can be, tweaking the methods, we can be tweaking our tactics, but our objective or our purpose in doing this should be clear, all right? Okay, so here's a short video from HubSpot because I think they can better articulate and explain the benefits of having a social media strategy. And you just play this video. It's a 2 to 3 minute clip, all right? So let's hear from the experts at HubSpot. Give me a second. Let me prepare my Loom.
A social media strategy. It will. There are many benefits to having a social media strategy. It will help you expand your other marketing efforts so your content has the chance to be seen by a wide audience and hopefully the right audience. It will also help you build brand awareness. Gone are the days when your only way to build that same awareness was through billboards or magazine and television ads. With social media, you have the ability to bring your brand content directly to your customers, partners, and prospects. Now you can be where your audience already is. Social media is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your audience. Sprout Social reports that when consumers follow a brand on social, 67% of the consumers are more likely to spend more with that brand, and 78% say they will visit that brand's physical retail store. This is especially true among millennials. 84% said they were more likely to buy from a brand they follow on social media compared to a brand they don't follow on social. Social media helps you attract buyers to your products and services, and it gives you the ability to directly have conversations with those individuals at the time and place of their choosing. It sounds like a lot of opportunity, doesn't it? In fact, social media is, in many ways, the ultimate way to do inbound marketing. That's because it's a one-to-one medium. which gives you and your company the chance to market in a direct, but very human way.
Social media's its impact on marketing, I think, has really been pretty profound. I'll give maybe two specific examples. One is when you think about, we'll say, kind of old marketing. I mean, this is still how a lot of us are thinking about marketing. The idea is that you're waiting for people to like get to your website, and your website is like the holy grail, and you're doing everything you can to lure people to your website. But what's happened with social media is we don't have to like actually sit around and wait for people to come discover us anymore. What's happening is we actually now have the opportunity to take our message, take our content, take our information to where the conversation is already happening, and that's on social media. And if you think about what else is happening, it's really completely leveled the playing field for businesses of all sizes. And if you think about like the fact that Click and Curl, which is like a 10-person beauty company in the Midwest, that a post of theirs can be seen right next to like Dior, an international powerhouse with $100 million marketing budget. Like that's crazy. That in all other past forms of marketing, something like that has never been the case. So social media has really kind of changed everything.
There are many benefits to having a social media strategy.
All right, we're able to listen to that. Can you send me a heart or a thumbs up if you were able to listen to the HubSpot video? All right. I'm glad that you were able to hear a bit from the experts. So that's just 3 minutes from a full-length course. So again, my purpose here is actually to share with you lots of resources that you can look into if you want to develop your social media profiles or social media brands. Okay. Okay, so here's a frequently asked question. Should my brand be present in all social media platforms? Do you have an answer for that? Anyone want to make a guess? Okay. The short answer is no. All right, because believe me, there's a long answer to that. Okay, Tintin says no. She knows that, yeah, Tintin is a good friend and also a social media manager. So she knows the short answer to that. Okay. So the next question is if it's okay not to be present in all social media platforms, what platform should my brand be present in? So actually, the short answer is not so short. Okay, you have to compare each platform. So you act on an empowered choice. You get to see all of the options. And then you decide which one best fits your objectives. Okay. It doesn't mean that a competitor is pursuing platforms XYZ. You should go that route too. Okay. So it depends on what your objectives are, what your resources are. Okay. So we do not want to stretch ourselves so thinly that we're putting out poor content just to be present in all forms of social media. All right. So let's take a look at the different social media platforms to help us make better decisions on what platform to pursue. All right. There are lots of other platforms other than the ones that I have here, but it will take us forever to discuss each one. So I selected 7 social media platforms. So some that are not here are Discord and Reddit. They are also considered social media platforms, and they're actually great for community building. All right, so let's have a bit of a survey. Can you please put an emoji if you have a Facebook profile? Right. Okay. Quite a lot. Okay, almost all. Okay, can you place an emoji if you have a TikTok account? Okay, who among you have TikTok? Okay. Who among you have Instagram? Okay. Okay, great. All right. Who among you have Twitter? Oops. Did I click the annotate button? Did I click it or did someone click the annotate button? Okay, odd. All right. Does anyone have a LinkedIn account here? How about YouTube? Do you have a YouTube channel? Or are you active on YouTube? Like, do you watch videos often? And this one, quite interesting, Pinterest. So a bit of a trivia. Do you know that the shelf life of a Pinterest post trumps most other platforms? So for example, on Twitter, if you put out a tweet, it might not be shown in other people's feeds after a few hours. But in Pinterest, it can go on for weeks, all right? It can go on circulating. Okay. Why is the annotate button clicking? My goodness. All right. Okay. Sorry, there was a technical glitch. Can you see my screen now? Okay. Okay, so let's go through the platforms one by one. So in terms of users, so from left to right, from Facebook to Pinterest, these are the number of active users worldwide. Okay, so it is what it is. I won't go reading through all of it, but basically we're working around, you know, figures of billions of active users to millions of active users. So there's a lot of people on social media. Okay, so this gets a bit more interesting. So in terms of audience, for Facebook, we have an even spread of Gen X and millennials. For TikTok, we have primarily Gen Z, followed by millennials. So it seems like there are younger people, a younger demographic participating in TikTok. For Instagram, it's primarily the platform for millennials. All right, so those who put a thumbs up a while ago, millennials like me, okay. Twitter is also primarily millennials. Oh, interesting. Who has LinkedIn? Baby boomers. Okay, are you dating yourselves? No, okay. This is also a platform for Generation X and millennials. Okay. And then there's YouTube, interesting because primarily millennials, but it has a strong audience across gender and age demographics. And then for Pinterest, it's a platform primarily for millennials with a solid audience in Gen Z, Gen X, and baby boomers. Okay. So what about industry impact? So remember when I talked about it depends on what your goals are. So it depends if you will activate Facebook or YouTube or Pinterest. So do you want to reach businesses or do you want to reach consumers? All right. For Facebook, industry impact is generally B2C. For TikTok, it's B2B and B2C. For IG, it's B2C. For Twitter, it's B2B and B2C. LinkedIn, it's business to business. So mostly organizations and companies. For YouTube, we have both. And for Pinterest, it's mostly talking to consumers. All right. And then what is each platform best for? All right, so this might be one of the most relevant questions, right? When I asked, or for the frequently asked question, which platform should I activate? Facebook is best for brand awareness and advertising. TikTok is great for short form, creative video content, user-generated content, and brand awareness. Instagram is great for high quality images and videos, user-generated content, and advertising. Twitter is great for public relations, customer service, and community building. For LinkedIn, it's great for establishing B2B relationships, business development, and social selling. For YouTube, we have brand awareness, long-form entertainment, and how-to videos. For Pinterest, it's for visual advertising and inspiration. More about that later when we develop our own brands. All right. So again, it can be it can be quite overwhelming to have all of this information side by side. So going back to our purpose. Why are we curious about social media? Why are we taking time and energy to develop social media? Again, we want to connect with an audience, with our audience. And how we do that? By creating valuable content. And how do we make sure that our content is valuable? By making sure that we have a clear brand and our objectives are also clear. All right. Okay, so let's have a bit of an activity. Okay, I'll be sharing with you some of the best brands on social media. Okay, a bit of a disclaimer. I got it from several blogs, and I think there are 2 or 3 that are from my own judgment. Okay, you can just ask me later. But okay, let's make this a bit fun. So you can type in the chat box the first impression of the brand. And then second, let me know how the brand makes you feel. So take a look at the images, take a look at the words used, all right? Take a look at how it's pieced all together. Okay, so I think I have about 5 to 7 brands here. Let's start. Here, this is GoPro, okay? On the left is the Twitter account of GoPro. Here in the middle, it's YouTube account. And then on the right, it's Instagram. Okay, so first impression. And then just type in the chat box. You can take a while to observe the pictures and the words. Outdoor pictures, travel, adventure. Adventure. Great. Okay. Impression, active feeling, travel and adventure, outdoorsy people. Okay, great. Okay, so next question, how does it make you feel? Okay, so what emotions do you feel when you take a look at these images and how they write their posts? James wants to buy a GoPro. Sold to James. Okay. Charm wants to travel and to capture her travels. All right. Kirsty wants to be active and document her adventures. Okay. Okay. Buy an island. View more. All right. See, so these are just a few snapshots across different social media platforms, right? Okay, let's move on to the next. So this is Slack. Is anyone familiar with Slack? It's a messaging service. Okay, so we have a few here who are familiar with Slack. So it's a great messaging tool specifically designed for the office setup. Okay, so how do these images and copy this content make you feel, right? So they have a LinkedIn account, they're present on Twitter, and they also have an Instagram account. Okay. I remember one of our leaders here in MOR who always reminds us that some brands are like inherently more exciting than others, but some brands, even if they're inherently not that exciting, they're like a messaging company, or it's not as exciting as food or travel, but there's a way to bring out excitement, right? There's a way to make it relevant and to connect. So I'm seeing answers here that it looks fun and exciting, it looks contemporary, looks colorful. Okay, so How does it make you feel? So imagine you're selecting a new app for your office messaging system, and then you come across this one, right? How will it make you feel? Will it make you feel interested, or yeah, you be curious to know more? I'm excited. Maybe want to test it. Looks playful. Want to try it because it looks new. So great. Okay, so moving on. Here's the social media page of Nest. There's the Instagram account, Facebook, and then not social media, but still related to digital marketing, the website. Okay, so again, first impression. What is it saying? What do the images say? Look at the structure. It's so colorful. It's playful. Right? It's for children. There are smiling kids who look innocent. Okay, so how does it make you feel? What emotional connection do you feel? Looks vibrant for kids. All right, exciting. Okay, so most of the answers are very similar. It looks vibrant and looks very positive. Okay, so emotional wants me to reach out to kids who need help. Really nice answers. Okay. How about Starbucks Philippines? This is their social media accounts across platforms. So we have their Facebook, their IG, and then their Twitter. Go green. Sorry, I had a problem with my audio. Okay, let's go back. Apologies about that technical difficulty. Okay. We were looking at Starbucks, right? Yeah. Calm, relaxed. Makes me want to go there and get coffee and pastries. Okay, great. Wants to buy a frap right now. Oh my. Oh, Heidi. Time to order. I'm sorry I made you crave with these photos. All right. Really cool, right? Okay, how about this? One love and life. First impression. Okay, one love and life. It looks light, artsy. Raul says it looks artsy. How else does it make you feel? Deep thoughts. Yeah, interesting. Nice handwriting. Okay, interesting that you did not mention font. You mentioned handwriting. Calm and comforting, says Bea. Simple, says James. How does it make you feel? You feel connected or disconnected? Like, does it make any emotions emerge? It's positive, makes you feel positive. It looks simple, and Heidi says she likes reading quotes. It looks very personal. All right, really good. Missing the high school notes to friends, yes. It brings me back also to a bit of nostalgia. All right, so we have a few brands left. This is Flip Science. It's a Pinoy science page that highlights science trivia and scientists in the Philippines. Right, it shines light on people who are pursuing STEM. What are your first impressions? Looks brainy. There are some images that give that hint. Anyone else want to take a try? Right. It's a bit bland, but blue. Okay. Right. Blue's my favorite color, by the way. Makes you think. Consistent with brand colors. Okay, interesting. All right. Okay, and last but not the least, here are some brands that are present on Instagram. They're all clothing brands. So just comment on the one that resonates most with you. So we have 3 options here. Let me know which one connects most with you and why. Okay, Heidi likes the third option. Third. Lots of votes for the third. It looks chic. Vote for the shoes. Shoes, second option. Great. All right. So we have 3 different brands, all clothing, all on Instagram, and makes me want to buy new shoes that I don't need because they just look so nice, don't they? All right, pretty cool. Okay, so that was quite fun. Okay, and what's amazing about what we just saw? Okay, so here's something I think that's super cool. Some of these brands are the social media profiles of well-established multinationals. Imagine the budget and the manpower that they might have. Meanwhile, some are from teams less than 5, and some are actually from a team of 1. All right, isn't that amazing? I mean, just like what the HubSpot experts mentioned a while ago, social media has a way of evening the playing field. Like a team of 1 can have a chance in bringing out their brand voice and connecting to a wider audience, right? And I think that's pretty amazing. Okay, so we'll actually be pausing for a break, and when we resume our session, we will work on a brand sheet and a planning sheet to help us get started with our social media. All right?
Okay, thank you, Jella. So that sums up our first part of the learning session today. I hope you had a lot of information, and for sure, we will have more in the second part. Please write down if you have any questions with a with a with the discussion that we had. So at the end of the session, we will have Q&A. So you just write it down in the chat box. So we will have 5 minutes break. See you again, guys.
See you in 5 minutes. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope that all of you were able to get some coffee or some food, or were able to stretch a bit. All right. If you're back already, can you send an emoji? All right, maybe send fireworks or heart or some thumbs up so that we get the cue that, yeah, most of us are here already. Okay. All right, seems like a lot of you guys are back. So while we wait for a few others, Huge, can you share in the chat box the worksheet that we will be using for today? Okay, so the second part of the session is a bit of a workshop so that we can put into practice the things that we learn. And actually, they say that's a very effective way of learning, to actually start and to begin, right? Please, please open the file that you shared. It's a branding worksheet. So again, let's talk to each other through emoji. Send me a thumbs up if you're able to access the file from Huge. Thank you, Huge. Okay, so don't worry if maybe you're tuned in using mobile and you're having a difficult time accessing the file. Hey, huge. There are some comments that yeah, they need access. Yeah. I think you have to, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think Huge is now working on opening the access to our participants. Okay, so that will be our worksheet for this afternoon. Again, as I was saying, if you have a difficult time working on it, we made sure that our slides will visually support what we are talking about. So you can also just use pen and paper, or if you have a notepad that's open, or anything that that you think is going to help you, jot down notes. Okay. Another round of thumbs up if you're able to access the file. Access is already open. Okay, I'm seeing some thumbs ups already. Okay, great. All right. Thank you so much, Huge, for sharing the file. Okay. Okay, so let's get back and talk about social media. All right. So there's actually a lot to learn about social media. Like, we're just tackling things in broad strokes right now. So if you want to if you want to deep dive and learn more about, cementing your social media branding or becoming a better social media manager, you can explore branding courses. There's a thing called content audit if you want to make sure that you're covering the right content. There's asset inventory, there's research and analytics, there's the inbound methodology, which I really like. So if you're going to be taking the HubSpot course, you'll be exposed to this inbound methodology. There's planning, there's video content, there's copywriting, which I like, but sometimes, it takes a lot of inspiration to get it right. But there are actually courses to help you get better in copywriting. There are courses designed for engagement. So there's a lot to tackle when it comes to social media. But because for today, we're focusing on how to connect to our audience. Okay, we are focusing on that. I decided to focus on the, two aspects of social media: branding and planning. Okay, so regardless of the platform that you want to pursue, regardless when you want to start this, I think branding and planning will be helpful for the participants here. We come from different backgrounds, different levels of knowledge in social media, but these two will be very helpful, whether you're a veteran already or you've been in the practice for a bit of time, or you're completely new to putting on the hat of a social media manager or content creator. Knowing the basics of branding and planning will help you in your next steps, wherever you want to take your brand to. All right. Okay, so download the worksheet that you shared in the chat. And before we begin, think of a brand, a profile or organization, or maybe you have an advocacy you want to develop. Okay, so maybe you want to improve your presence on social media, like you as a person, or maybe you want to improve your LinkedIn profile. Okay, or maybe you have a passion project. Okay, trivia: before I became a social media manager, okay, I did some practice writing. So I did this account called Lit Cafe. So basically, I looked for copy cleared images of coffee. Then I would write poetry about it. Okay, and I just wanted to test, like put out some writing and test the medium and practice a bit of my branding skills before I actually take on clients or before I work on other brands. So if you have like a passion project or something that piques your interest, okay, so kindly think about it and work on that today. Okay, so the mindset that we want to have here as we go through the activity is that this is a safe space. This is your mind, and you are with people who also want to learn. Okay, and you're working on something exciting. Okay, you're flexing your creative muscle, and also this is a learning process. This is not, cast in stone. This is not an outcome. This is part of your journey. Okay, so can anyone share in the chat what they want to develop for today? Like what brand do you want to work on? Your current business, a new business that you're working on. You don't have to name drop exactly. You can be specific. You can also be broad. Victor says he wants to develop the brand of a research organization. All right. My work and my business, says Tintin. Okay. Anyone else? Maybe we have one or two more who would like to share something that they'd like to develop. No right or wrong. You can like work on something today and think of something else tomorrow. Okay. Nico says video game company, and Raul says scientific information to be shared with general public. Oh, pretty cool. Actually, I have a client who has a very similar advocacy. Okay. Renan says our company. Okay. Marty says multimedia content creator and a coffee brand. Okay, food and travels. Okay. All right. I think we're all set. So let's start. Okay. So in the top of the file, if you were able to download the file, kindly encircle or underline the brand that I am building is, set a personal profile, professional profile, current business, upcoming, other, like what I mentioned, your cat's life. Some people actually do that and it's quite interesting. Okay, so I'll go through this because we already, already talked about it in the previous slide. Okay, so the brand's name is, if you don't have a brand name yet, just use the space to jot down ideas and get back to it after, okay? If it's a completely new idea and you just have a concept and not a brand, you can list down keywords, all right? Okay, I'll proceed to the next slide. I hope that you've either written down the brand name or at least have put down some bullet points. Okay, what is your brand all about? In marketing, we have this thing called the elevator pitch. Is anyone familiar with what an elevator pitch is? So this is what you are most likely to share to a stranger under a minute, and not just any stranger. Imagine someone could be a potential investor, a potential partner in your business, or could be your primary client. Okay, so imagine that you're in an elevator with them, you got into the elevator, the ground floor, and that person is getting off in the 12th floor and he asks, can you tell me about what you do? Okay, so you have like under a minute to tell that person, that key person, what your brand is all about. So what problems will it solve? What are the strengths? So this is the part where you try to put in the essentials of your brand. I know this is a tough activity if you haven't thought about it before, but again, I suggest putting down keywords. All right. you can feel free to share about it, but you can also keep it to yourself if you want the ideas to just brew in your mind for a while. And again, this is not cast in stone. You can always revise. And when I work with my my marketing team, sometimes we really just get our brains together and put down things in bullet points, and then we let the ideas simmer, and we get back to it in our next meeting, and then we try to improve it, and then we polish it. So it's really a process, but it's important that we get things started. Right? That's the most difficult part. So put down keywords that will most likely appear in your elevator pitch. Okay. I'll move to the next slide. Okay, so what is the primary purpose of your brand? Okay, if you're familiar with Simon Sinek, he's the author of Find Your Why. He has this simple formula of how to write your brand's purpose. Okay, so this is his format. To blank, so that blank. Okay, so the first blank is your contribution, and then the second is your impact, right? So, is anyone familiar with Simon Sinek? Okay. Okay, I'll share another format. Okay, so I actually tried this activity and then I had the keywords already, but I wasn't able to write it in that format. So this one might be helpful also for you because we don't want to box naman na that's the only way to write your brand's purpose. So mine naman is parang the opposite, to blank by blank. Okay, so I'll give you a more concrete example. I place it here in my work area every day. So my brand purpose, this is for my professional brand, my career, to inspire people to make healthy, empowered, and life-giving choices by sharing knowledge with love. Okay, so the first one is what I want to impart to the people around me, whether directly or when you create a ripple effect. And then by blank is how I intend to do it. So I always say this to myself when I don't feel motivated or when I feel like I'm when I feel like I need to refresh with my purpose, share knowledge with love. Okay. You can check out Simon Sinek after our lesson, or if you have time, because he's a really good resource when it comes to helping people and helping brands come up with their purpose or their why. So a single person can have actually different purposes for each brand that they put out. I'm actually good friends with this really good entrepreneur who has a lot of different brands, and every brand that she puts out has a special purpose. But the interesting thing is, it all connects to her personal purpose. So parang siyang very interconnected. Okay? So again, let's just work with some keywords here. Okay, here. This is quite cool and quite important in branding. So to be effective as a brand, we want to identify emotion words, okay, that our brand will communicate through the assets that we choose to put out, the way we write, the way we structure things. Okay, so when we are able to establish an emotional connection with our audience, that's how the relationship begins, or that's how we leave an impact. That's how we find our tribe, because we can't like talk to each and every one of them and they won't be able to know us personally. We can't put out that elevator pitch over and over again. We communicate through the font that we use, how we make them feel through the colors, because that's how digital works. We have to communicate through colors, not just through how we talk. Okay, so we have to identify what emotions we want our brand to communicate. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, there are like a sea of possible brand emotions that you can choose. Okay, check this out. Okay, if my brand is like cheerful, positive, celebratory, and then I also choose warm, like what images come to your mind, right? Maybe you remember some of the social media posts that I showed you a while ago. Maybe there were some that actually represent these emotions, right? These emotions remind me of like, I don't know, maybe Sesame Street or Nest, the one that I showed you a while ago, right? But if you select these brand emotions, bold, powerful, attractive, and strong, maybe different images will come to mind, right? Different set of wording, a different kind of video strategy will come to mind. How about you? What kind of emotions do you want to bring out when you create your brand? Okay, so I highly encourage that you select maybe at least three, maybe 3 to 5, not all, because if you want your audience to feel all of this, the impact might be, really watered down, and that's not what we want. We want to be effective in making that emotional connection with our audience, because we are not there to be with them one on one and to show them how awesome we are. We have to make our brand colors work, our choice of copy to work. And when we have these emotions pinned down, it will be easier to come up with a content calendar. It will be easier to select the right photos, the right filter. Okay. Can you kindly give me a thumbs up or maybe a heart emoji if you've already encircled the emotions that you want for your brand? All right. Quite a few have already selected the emotions. Let's wait for a couple more. Yeah. Okay, I see more thumbs up already. Okay. So you can always go back naman to these emotion words, and actually you can Google emotion wheel. So we actually use this in market research before, because sometimes people find it difficult to describe how they feel, but when they see like the whole spectrum of emotions, they're able to better identify how they feel. So dito baliktad naman, parang how do you want your audience to feel? Okay. All right. So here, mood board, it would be a bit difficult to do it now, but you can list down keywords, and I'll point you to some really cool resources. So when a mood board is important, so that all of those um emotion words that you listed down a while ago, your brand purpose or your elevator pitch, this is your opportunity to capture it in images. Okay, because basically digital is such a visual medium. So come up with a mood board or images for the general aesthetic of your brand. Okay, if you're like maybe presenting to a client, um, you can try copy cleared images from Unsplash, Pexels, and Pixabay. They have quite a good selection of images that you can use. If you have Canva, that's awesome. I actually first started with Canva. It was not even the pro account. It was just the basic account. but I was able to come up with something. Pinterest is a good source of inspiration. Okay, sometimes when I work with clients, we have a Pinterest board that's open. So we look for images or palettes that would best describe our brand. Okay. So for example, this one, it has a very different vibe from the black and white selection of photos. And then this one naman has the yellow and blue and fresh ingredients over here. It's very different, right? Tells a different story. What about your story, right? Okay. And then how about your brand palette? Okay, so here's a really cool site that you can try. It's called Coolers. Yeah. Okay, dalawang O. Coolers.co. And then it helps you generate palettes. Okay, you can make it like, a 3-color palette, 4 colors, 5 colors, and then it will show you the hex. So you can better pinpoint the kind of colors that you want. So for today, list down the primary colors that you want for your brand. And then your assignment is to take a look at colors or a similar tool and to take note of the colors that you want for your brand. Okay, go back to your emotion words. What colors do you think would best represent those emotions? Anyone wants to put in the chat what colors they envision for their brand? Tintin says red and black and yellow for a food business. Yeah, red and yellow seems really good for food, very appetizing. JC says pink, nude, and neutral colors, nice and soft. I like that. Arnie says red. Cool. For my professional profile, main color would be magenta, light pink, and black white. There's an accent color of light purple. I like it. These are really cool. These are really cool options. Like it represents different emotions. And Nico says crimson red. Right. For the coffee brand, orange, teal, off-white, and dark gray. I like it. It looks very warm. Very enticing for coffee. Okay. Okay, this is quite funny. So fonts matter. Yeah, believe it or not. So do you want to be found by the left or by the right image? Okay, so when you develop your brand guide, okay, try to come up with a cursive and a print option. Okay, so sometimes it's very magulo if like you have 10,000 fonts that you're trying to use and it doesn't communicate what you're trying to say. So try to come up with a cursive and a print option. Okay, you can come up with like primary fonts. Sometimes there are two versions of print or two cursive ones that you want to use. And then secondary fonts also, just for added options. Okay, so I use Canva heavily for creating my visuals. So I make sure that the font that I will be using is available in Canva. Again, when I started with being a digital marketing practitioner, I just used the free Canva account and I was able to find something that worked. All right. So I'll just breeze through this page because it might take a while to actually pin down the font that will best represent your brand. But I hope I got my message across that it matters. Okay. Okay, this is a very exciting part, especially since I actually come from a market research background. So it's important that we have in mind the kind of client, the kind of audience that we want to reach. Okay, so it's actually very helpful if you can write it down. Like for those who are not coming from a marketing background, it may sound a little goofy or a little weird or strange even to come up with like a persona for people, for imaginary people that you want to target. But again, believe me, when you're coming up with a content calendar, it's important that you know who you're talking to. Okay, so this is usually like a whole day workshop or like a series of workshops, but to present it in the quickest way possible, these are things that might help you start with your brand target audience, your persona building. So come up with a persona name. Who do you want to talk to? Okay, and okay, just a tip. It actually is helpful to come up with a quirky name, like a goofy name for your persona. So maybe you want to use like businessman Bob if you want to connect with business leaders in LinkedIn, right? Or in Twitter. Or maybe you want to connect with friendly Fred if you want to, you know, create videos in TikTok or in YouTube, right? So the quirkier actually the better, because the point is for us to remember who we are talking to, right? Because if you come up with content for businessman Bob, it will be very different if that platform is actually intended for friendly friend or something like that. Okay, so persona name, and then make a general description of this persona. Would that person be male or female or in between? Yeah, we're inclusive. Would that person be married or single? So it matters also in terms of decision making and psychographics, right? Will that person have children? So I used to work with this brand, and let's just say that there's this persona called Mother Millie. So a mother that's a millennial. So a mother that's a millennial would be very different in terms of messaging when you compare it to a boomer that's also a mother, right? Or someone from Gen X that's a mother. Okay. Location. Are you looking at the local market, a global market? Someone from the city, someone from the suburbs? What kind of work does that person have, right? We usually respond to messages that are similar to who we are, right? That have the same interests as we have. So when you come up with a persona, yeah, it would be really helpful if you can pin these down. Like when you get into the content writing, or when you try to decide what platforms you want to activate, this is super helpful. Okay, just a side kwento. When you're a new brand and sometimes you're unsure, like you don't have any working data yet. It's like purely a figment of your imagination. Like my gut feel says this is my target audience. It's okay. You can make it your hypothesis and then just test it out, put out messaging intended for that kind of target audience. And then after a few months, maybe you can review, are you actually hitting that kind of audience? So two things. If yes, well and good. If no, maybe your product or your messaging is actually hitting a different market. So do you want to, you know, adjust your target audience instead? Or maybe you want to create a secondary persona, a tertiary persona. Some brands have up to 4 personas. They usually have like a primary one, and they come up with secondary personas. So this tool from HubSpot can help you build your persona. Okay. I had that activity before when I was working with incognitos, and it was really helpful. Okay, so I encourage you to take a look at this tool if you want to take a deep dive in building your persona. It's free, by the way, so don't worry. There are a lot of options for those who are just beginning their career in digital marketing, or who want to work on passion projects. And yeah, there are a lot of accessible tools. Okay, so actually ends the first part of the workshop. We have a second workshop. It's don't worry, it's not as intense as the one that we just went through. We'll take another 5-minute break in case you need to stretch or you want to review what you put in your sheet. All right. So we'll be back after 5 minutes. All right. And then another quick workshop, and then I'll be sharing more tools and resources that can help add value to your social media pursuit. All right. Can I get a thumbs up? I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, stretching break. Hi, everyone. Are we back? Yeah. Are you back from your stretching break? Some people are not yet here, so let's wait 1 more minute for them. But while we're waiting for them, can you kindly place in the chat the next worksheet that we will be using? So the next part of the activity is planning. Okay, so we have already a brand that we have. Yeah, we already designed the colors, the purpose of our brand. So the next step is, so how do we get out there in social media? Okay, so while waiting for our fellow participants, kindly check, for those who are here already, if you're able to access the file that you shared. All right. Then if you've received it and you've successfully opened the file, kindly place in the chat an affirmative response, like yes or thumbs up, so that we'll know if we have to work on technical issues, right? But again, for those who are, yeah, okay, great, got it. Okay, again, for those who are maybe checking us out using mobile, or have a hard time opening the PDF, everything can be seen in my slides. So if you have a piece of paper, you can use it. All right. These worksheets will be emailed to you. So super valuable if you can like carve out time again to work on your social media. Find the inspiration and the time to work on it. At least today you've already started it, right? Okay, I think more people are here. Okay, more people are here, and I think we can begin this second to the last part of our session. Okay, so again, the profile that you are managing is blank. So put the profile name and a short description. Okay, this should be easy because this is partly tackled in the first worksheet. It's just a bit repetitive because they should act as standalone worksheets. Okay, but since we're doing it seamlessly from the first one, this should be easy to jot down. Okay. And then what are your social media goals? Okay, so this is the part where you have a conversation with yourself. Don't be daunted by the how. Okay, like they can be really big goals. They can also be just simple goals. Like there was a time I just wanted to put out coffee and poetry, and it's okay if I just connected with 10 people as long as they're really interested. And there are times when my social media goals are quite big. Like I want to connect with virtual workers around the Philippines and connect them with companies around the globe, right? So two very different social media goals. So this is the part when you ask yourself and reflect, what is my intention in going out in social media, right? So don't be daunted with the how, because you will get there. Okay, what's important is where you are aiming, and these goals are yours, right? They're not just the goals of anybody. They're um yours to jot, yours to keep you inspired. All right. Okay, so from the previous worksheet, if you've already listed down target audience personas, so you can kindly list them down again here. And then, this is what I was mentioning a while ago. Give them easy to remember names so that when you are developing content for your social media platforms, you're able to keep in mind the kind of language that you will use, the kind of how short or how long the content will be, right? Things like that. Okay. So very helpful to come up with these quirky names. Okay, so a bit of trivia. Why quirky names, right? So in one of my psychology classes, we talked about what causes recall, or like what factors help develop recall. So you have to be like provocative or funny or consistent, right? So these names help us recall our target audience because we make them a little quirky, right? So now that we have pinned down like the personas that we want to communicate with, what social media platforms will you activate? Okay, so kindly encircle them or put a star. Okay, so here's the tip. You can rank them from like 1 to 3, right? What your priority platform is. If you're a one-man team right now, maybe you can just handle 1 or 2 platforms, and that's okay. In fact, maybe that's all that you need to meet your brand objectives, right? So these platforms, maybe you can even do a bit more research later on, but at least you will be able to take note which platforms to activate. Okay, so this is supposed to help you cut through the noise. So many options out there. You don't have to copy what your competitor is doing. Okay, your competitor has different brand objectives, different resources, right? So you can also, when you have ranked it, you can actually put notes like maybe when you have developed a team, maybe the time will come when you're no longer a one-man team, you're no longer a two-person team, right? You can open another channel. So which one will you activate? Okay, and then here, social media handles and bio to be used. So this is just meant to make sure that you are consistent. Again, for recall, either you're provocative, you're funny, or you're consistent. So let's try to be consistent as much as we can for our social media handles. All right. And then social media frequency of activity. You have to post every hour of every day. Okay, so rule of thumb, post regularly, not too often. Okay, actually there are some algorithms that do not favor regular posting. And most important, try not to sacrifice quality over quantity. Okay, so some bit of an example, like for Instagram, if you put multiple posts in a day, sometimes the algorithm will not favor you. But when it comes to Twitter, if you post multiple tweets in a day, you might be favored by the algorithm, right? So, rule of thumb, try to post regularly, but do not sacrifice quality over quantity. Okay, the audience who wants to connect with you is interested in high quality content. You want to create an impression that you are helpful, you are human, and what you serve is quality. All right. So this is interesting because scheduling platforms these days actually have recommended days and times for posting that you can refer to. So if anyone among you are familiar with Meta Business, Facebook and Instagram actually suggests like when your followers are most active. So when you're coming up where you're putting out content that's not like sensitive to the time of the day, you can just plot it in the recommended days and times of the scheduling platform. Okay. And then here, we have content format. What kind of content can you put out? Okay, so these are some options. You can do all, you can do some. There are some brands that, specialize in images because maybe they have inspiring images to share. Maybe they are photographers, right? Or some brands naman, they focus on video. All right. You can do a variety. Actually, video is said to be the preferred format of most viewers or most people on social media, but it's still case to case basis. You have people like me who prefer text or photos rather than video. All right. So I'm your tita who likes Twitter and Instagram more than TikTok because yeah, I prefer images and text. All right. And then content topics. These are called like idea joggers to help you get inspiration when you develop your content calendar. Okay, so you can talk about your brand. If you're a food brand, like some of you mentioned, you're developing a food brand. You can highlight your best products or trivia about your products. You can highlight your services. You can share recommendations. Talk about your advocacy. What does your brand stand for, right? Can share testimonials, put out quotes and questions, share industry news, countdowns, and then holidays and special events. All right, so there are times you might feel like, what will I put out in my calendar? So these topics, sometimes what we do in social media management, we literally take a look at the whole month and then put out, let's say we want to focus on every week, we share something about the brand, we share a recommendation, we share industry news, and then we put out a quote or a question. So 4 types of content, 4 times a week, all right? Sometimes one gets bumped off because there's a holiday or a special event, but we have those staple bits of content that we put out. Okay, so in the file that you downloaded, I shared a calendar format. Okay, I'm not able to paste it here, but if you downloaded the file, it's there. And if you're not able to download the file, we will be emailing you or along with our thank you note for joining our workshop. Yeah, you will be receiving the calendar format, the content calendar format. And I also put a second option. Okay, so it really depends on the platforms that you're working with, the kind of content that you're working with. So these are templates. They're meant to get you started, but you can always customize it to what you need. Okay, so this is actually a free content calendar template from HubSpot. Yeah, my favorite resource for today. All right, so basically, when you have a content calendar already, my suggestion is to transfer it to a Google spreadsheet or another collaborative tool, right? If you're working with a team, that would be very helpful. Or even if it's just yourself, um you have a way to organize things, I suggest that you put it in a Google spreadsheet, right? Collaborative tool if you're working with something like Planody for Instagram. Oh, okay. So seems like that marks the end of the second workshop. How's everyone doing? Were you able to jot down some valuable points for your social media? Hey, thumbs up. Okay, heart. Thumbs up, heart. Thank you. All right. Kaya pa, do we still have yeah, a minute or two? Actually, this next part of of the program, we can just email it to you. I can go through it really fast, like in a minute, so that I can give the mic back to JC. All right, so very, very quickly in broad strokes. Okay, you can do a stretch if you need to wake up your mind and body for a while. Okay, so classes and certifications, HubSpot Academy, really good options, wide selection. If you're planning to explore Instagram, check out Kat Koroy. I took a few classes from her. You can even check her on YouTube if you want to explore some of her videos. So really good insights on branding, and she specializes in Instagram. Coursera in Google, more in depth, and they have specializations like for e-commerce and other industries. Other tools from HubSpot, there's a buyer persona tool that I mentioned earlier, super cool and it's free. And then, yeah, I mentioned this also earlier, the free social media calendar template and Canva. The reason why it we can be a one-man team as a social media manager or content creator because we have tools like Canva, right? Super helpful if you have Pro, but even the basic can get you started. If you need access to copy cleared images, like it's hard to go out and take really good photographs, but you need some photos for your website or your Insta yeah, for your Facebook or your other visual needs. Check out Unsplash. Dun tayo sa copy cleared. All right. Sa inspiration, okay lang Pinterest. But if we have clients and we need to submit copy cleared images or put out things on social media, Unsplash or Pexels or Pixabay. Shutterstock, it's a paid account. I think they have a promo, like you can download 10 free images and then you just cancel the subscription. For writing and editing, Hemingway app. There's also Grammarly, all right? And then collaboration tools when we're no longer a one-man team. Google Drive, Google Sheets. Actually, even if you're a one-man team, this is actually super helpful, right? The whole array of options from Google. Meta Business, and Planoly for Instagram. Hootsuite if you want to level up your planning. But sometimes we really just do things in Google Sheets. And here, this is a hack for all of you who might be having trouble remembering passwords. Check out LastPass. It records your password. So you just have to think of like one master password. Okay. All right. So again, so many things to remember about social media. But if there's one thing that you should take away from today's talk is that social media allows you to connect. Okay. All right. There we go. Thank you, everyone. Finally reached the end, but you know, the end is the beginning, and um this is actually just the start of your social media journey, right?
Yes. Thank you, Jella, for that informative presentation. I'm sorry, man. There's a noise in the background. Just hold on, please.
Okay, while waiting for JC to get back, why don't you give yourself a heart emoji or your favorite happy emoji because you showed up today and you learned something new. It's a nice Friday afternoon and you chose to be curious and you chose to learn something about social media. You learned about developing a brand, right? So this is the time when social media democratizes branding and makes a lot of tools accessible. So congratulations to everyone who showed up, right? Okay. Before
Okay, I'm back.
JC,
So again, sorry. Thank you for the very informative presentation. It will be really helpful for our pages and our projects in social media. So before we proceed with the Q&A, may I request for everyone to open your cameras for a quick group picture.
send heart or send your favorite. Maybe send a coffee cup.
All right, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay.
Okay. So do you have any questions for Jella before we end the session? Kindly just write it in the chat box. Okay, Tin has a question for the fonts. Does it have to be the fonts in the logo?
Not necessarily. It would help, but not necessarily. I think it would help if the font in the logo will be your primary font, like for headers. But there will be times like maybe screen share for all. But it's not always the case. Like at least in my practice, sometimes there are certain messagings that don't always reflect the font in the logo. That's why we have like primary and secondary fonts. We don't use naman like 10,000 fonts. Yeah. But we limit to like maybe limit to maybe 2 or 4, 2 to 4 fonts.
All right. Another question is that if I have, from Raul, if I have a wide target audience, is it better to make generic content posts or multiple posts directed towards different personas?
My advice would be to come up with an A/B test. So in marketing, we have this thing called A/B tests when you actually have like 2 types of content and you put it out because in social media it makes it actually possible to do it in a very cost efficient way. You put out 2 different content, like one is a generic content post and then maybe you have 2 that are directed to different personas and then you see which one has more impact. Okay, so you can measure it by checking the engagement. You can check it by seeing the reach of the post. So that's the one of the things that are really cool with social media is that you can run these tests and they're quite low risk. Like it just helps you become better and better in developing content. I would personally come up with multiple posts directed to different personas, but I would not dismiss the generic ones. Like I'd still run an A/B test. Okay. Thanks, Raul. Thanks, Tintin.
Any other questions?
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Okay.
So in planning the post for the content, is it better to plan like 3 months, 6 months, or is it better to plan like on a monthly basis and project the next month's content plan through the engagement that you receive during the current month? Or how do you plan your post? Like, is it on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, or what do you recommend?
Actually, depends on your resources. Like sometimes your bandwidth can really just allow like a month of planning. But regardless if it's just a month of planning or a full quarter of planning, or some actually do like a full year plan worth of planning, like in the start of the year, they're able to map out like key pieces of content throughout the year. I think the important what we should remember here in social media is that we should be flexible. So it's great that we're intentional, but at the same time, there might be some topics that we're not able to predict, and then it's very relevant to our brand, and it's something that we can include even if it's just the next day or 2 days later. So social media is super fast paced, so it's good to exercise also that flexibility, because that's also a strength of social media. There are some conversations that we're not able to predict yet, but they resonate with us, and then they appear, and we can take our brand to that conversation. But to answer your question, the further the better. So it will really give you a lot of room to think and to plan if you can pin down at least a month down the line or a quarter down the line.
Okay. And how important, sorry, I have so many questions. And how important is it to base your contents in with the holidays? Like I've seen like several, like from different industry or platforms that they incorporate their post with the holidays, or like for Father's Day, Mother's Day, or even with the current
Mhm.
events, like something, for example, there's a trend going on, and then they would associate their post with a current, like, what do you call this? With a current, like trending
And
post.
yeah, I think that's actually a good component of social media. Like we can take our brand where the conversations are happening. So instead of like what was mentioned a while ago in the HubSpot video na you're just waiting for people to come and visit your content, you can actually check out where the conversations are happening and go to those pages, go to those accounts, or make noise in your own social media page that's relevant to what everyone else is talking about or what your target personas are talking about. So I think that's actually something unique with social media, that real time, like conversation happens, and then in an hour you're part of the conversation already.
Okay. So if there's no more questions, because I don't have any more questions, we might finish until 7 if we can continue asking questions. Okay, Jella, on behalf of our company, More Staffing, we would like to express our gratitude for your willingness to take part as our speaker in this learning session. It was very interesting and very informative. I believe that everyone has received a lot of beneficial information from it. We'd also like to thank everyone who participated in our 8th learning session. Thank you for your support and for making it a success. As our way of acknowledging your support, by next week, we will be sending out an e-certificate and a fillable worksheet as a follow-through on the learning session. We also have upcoming learning sessions in the following weeks that you might also be interested in. We have communication, speaking, and being heard by Ted Lanewatt. So if you want to join our next session, please, Huge will send the sign up link into the chat box and we'll give interested participants a few minutes to sign up. So if you guys want to be updated with our upcoming learning sessions, please don't forget to follow our social media sites. We have Facebook, Instagram, and our website for further details on our upcoming learning sessions. Also, if you have friends you think it will be beneficial for them to join these learning sessions, just please send the link to them. You may also subscribe on our YouTube channel, More Staffing for the learning session videos. And again, thank you and have a great evening and weekend.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Huge, I
Bye,
saw your
guys.
question. I'll just DM you the answer. All right.
you.
Thanks, everyone. It was nice
Bye.
leading the talk. Bye.